campaign because Legal Aid was representing the other party.
Okay.
And I was offered advice to go to a lawyer, which would cost me in the vicinity of 20,000 to be represented.
I'd had a very long journey of problems with a family member, and wasn't making any progress at all.
About 12 months ago, my husband was hospitalised in the mental health ward, and he was in there for about 7 weeks. During that time we moved house, and it was a very difficult time because I'd had to do that kind of all the things on my own. I'd had really very little help to do anything. It was strange for my husband coming back to a different place. I feel he should have had a chance to have had closure where we were before. But and he was quite like a zombie because he hadn't been allowed to do anything, or he was just really locked up, and that was really effective. It really affected him.
And during that time, there was a guardianship, I understand, taken out against.
Yes.
Or in relation to your husband.
Yes, he'd been allotted a guardian who was supposed to see to his needs.
And was that with or without your permission?
Without my permission, I was told that was what was going to happen.
And why do you think that decision was made?
Because it had been told last year that I was neglecting him and abusing him.
I felt that I had been advised to do reconciliation, and after had tried for many years to reconcile with the family, but it just wasn't impossible.
We'd been to quite a few different services. Some informed us that they weren't appropriate, it was a private matter. Some thought it was, a criminal matter, so we got shuffled around. We did. Mum had several interviews with another service up in Perth, and that's where Mum's saying they wanted her to go into mediation without any support with the perpetrators, and I wasn't really comfortable with that, and I don't think Mum was very nervous about the prospect of that. Like she said, she'd tried mediation for lots of years, but because of the level of abuse, that was a thing that she just was really nervous of, especially without support.
The difficulties that my husband and myself were having was that we didn't seem to be in control anymore of our own lives. It seemed to be other people were telling us how we've got to live and how we've got to do things. And I didn't feel that was the right way to go, because I feel quite confident in what I'm doing.
Of course, of course.
Well, first of all, they listened, and I could tell they were listening because they didn't keep interrupting me. They listened to what I'd got to say, sympathised because they felt that it was something that was very important, and they said, we are going to do something about it, and they were positive in what they were doing. The fact that I think they took over the correspondence side of things, which I had tried to manage myself on the phone, especially to the financial advisor, but I never seemed to get through to him. He never seemed to understand what I was trying to say, and in fact he hung up on me a few times instead of sticking with it and trying to at least give me some answers. So I found that was very helpful, that the Relationships Australia was able to get through and act on my behalf.
Charmaine is amazing. When I came to Charmaine, I was broken.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only word to describe it, is broken, and her support has been absolutely magnificent. She was with me every step of the way when we'd been to various lawyers, and I think there were 3 or 4 that we had visited before we got to the people that we're with now, and Charmaine came to every single
From I guess a carer's sort of point of view, I obviously want to be there to support mum, support her emotionally, financially, and things like that, but at the same time I think it's really important for there to be a third party as well. I don't want mum to feel that there's any sort of level of coercion there. Obviously I've got sentiments, or not sentiments, but emotions about my brother and frustrations and how mum's been felt and I've been dealt with, and I don't want to burden mum with them as well. So having a third party there to help her has been a real relief for myself as well. We did, when we were going through the other services, I did feel as though they were sort of insinuating that I might have had invested interests in this, and they wouldn't allow me into meetings, wouldn't allow me just to be there for my mum during the conversations, when she was telling a story, not even just to sit in the corner, and that was always concerning for me. So to know that Charmaine would be there, that would meet her at the train station, have a coffee afterwards to debrief mum, that's all the sort of stuff that I was trying to do beforehand, that and then trying not to get emotional at the same time when I hear all of this stuff come out.
Well, it would be very hard to say how to improve something that's really good to start off with. I just found with the Relationships Australia, they not only listened, but they seemed to understand what was going on, and they knew that it's not the sort of thing that should obviously be an older couple going
More
through.
understanding of the older people's needs.
Yeah. More understanding
And not to be treated as if they were children.
Yes.
and being able to contact both parties and have conferences between parties and try and iron out any differences between those. What about the registration of people with enduring power of attorney?
Ah, okay, yes, that's right. We don't have a register of power of attorney in WA at the moment, and that's something that you think should be put in place.
I would like to suggest that they have a register of people with the enduring power of attorney and explain to those people what their powers are.
Every sort of elderly person, in regards to the case, sort of could really do with a case worker initially. I tried to do a lot of the legwork for mum, because I realised it was really emotional for her, and 3 or 4 times she ran out of steam. It took us several years to take this case back on because of the emotional stress, and it got to the point where financial burden was a real thing as well.
I think people, particularly of my age group, we are very independent, and we like to be independent. But I also appreciate, so much what my family have done for me as well. I'm very, very fortunate, and unfortunately I know there's people in our community that just do not have backup family, and my heart goes out to them.